but also we will allow people to also share as well, whatever that you want to share. So we will get started. But before we start, I will allow Mrs. Guja on the other side to just maybe say a few things and introduce yourself before we start. Then I also allow Messi as well to say a few things before we start as well. Maya Guja, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. It is wonderful to be here, and it's so nice to see you guys logging in from everywhere you are. I'm so excited to just gather here and learn from one of the best teachers. You know what? We always grow as couples. We always grow as couples, and these platforms are actually the perfect places to just learn and develop as couples together. I'm not alone here. My husband, just imagine he's next to me, he's working. You know how UK life is like. You're sometimes alone, but you're not alone. So at the moment, just imagine he's next to me. He is in the chat there, and he will be just, sharing some few nuggets as we go. But I'm so excited to hear. Thank you very much, Tim Gary, and I'm so excited to hear a whole lot from the MATARUSE. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna allow Messi here to also say a few words, and then we get straight into the business of the day.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And as for me, I can't wait to hear from our speaker. Is like Mrs. Gusha said that these platforms, you don't have to miss out because that's where we learn from others. And tonight, I can't wait to hear from our speakers, whatever they want to cook for us. We are ready to eat. So thank you so much. I don't want to waste much of your time as we are waiting to hear more from our speakers. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. So it's obviously the month of February, the month of love. We will continue in the spirit of love, and we are just going to welcome Mr. and Mrs. Mataruse to come in and take over the platform. Please just be free and take all the time. Share with us everything that you have today. Yeah, we are really excited to welcome you, sir. Thank you. Take over the platform.
Thank you so much, Ephraim. Thank you so much, Mai Guja. With me here is Delia, my wife.
Hello, everyone.
We are the Mataruses. We fell in love in 2003 when we met at church. She was in the praise and worship, and myself, as a faithful church member, was sitting in the bench and watching the people singing in front of me. And I said, I would want one of them to be my wife. And it ended up being Delia. And we have been together now. We married in 2009. So we have been together now for 17 years. And we have faced a lot of challenges, but a lot of good times as well. So if you ask us if we will do it again, yes, we will do it again. I still remember I was sitting with my friend, Arthur, and I said, can you see Sister Delia there? Then he said, what about Sister Delia? And I said, oh, I think she's looking so beautiful. It was later when I realized other brothers in church loved her as well. But I was the first one to go there. Then, the rest is history. So thank you guys for giving us this platform so that we can also share with you our experiences. It's not like we know everything, but there are some things that we have tried and tested that we know these things work. And so those are the things that we are going to share with you. So a brief history, Delia is a nurse by training. I'm a banker by training. Business development and sales is what I do. At church, we are elders. But a thing that we realized early on was that when pastors in our church, the church was spread all over Zimbabwe. But when pastors had problems, we were usually called in to help them. To the extent that at one time I asked one of the leaders in church to say, why do you call us? Then he said, we know that you keep things confidential and it will not go anywhere. So we are happy because we know if you deal with an issue, you deal with it decisively. And in as much as you respect us as pastors, when you are dealing with an issue, you just go to the facts and use biblical wisdom to resolve issues. So it was at that time that we realized that God was calling us to something. And after some time, one of the apostles in our church asked us to lead couples. So that's when we got to learn a lot. You can imagine you also have issues in your home, but you're being asked to help other couples. So we kept saying, why us? And they said, it's not because you are the perfect couple, but it's because you are the ones that God has chosen to do that job in that season. So yeah, that's a brief history. So today, guys, we are going to talk about issues that would encourage and increase intimacy in the home. The UK is a very busy place. Myself coming from Zimbabwe and now here, I notice a huge difference in the way the jobs are done, in the way the environment operates. But what I would say is our marriages are very important and we have to be very intentional. If you are not careful, you blame the UK for growing apart. But the actual fact is, even in Zimbabwe, people are struggling. So it just means that you have to be intentional so that you protect your marriage. If it's something that is so important, so precious, then you need to protect it as it were. So I'll start by just saying the book that is called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray teaches a lot about the differences between men and women. And this is an area that we all should understand so that some of the issues that cause conflict in the home can be resolved. For example, the general understanding is that men compartmentalize issues. We deal with compartments or boxes, as it were. So if we are talking about jobs, it's about jobs to Ephraim and me. But to Mercy, that issue about jobs can also be linked to a mom. It can be linked to your siblings, because to most women in general, things can be intertwined, as it were. Then the other thing is, men usually have a long-term view. For us, sometimes we are already thinking about going back to Zimbabwe to retire. But for Delia, she wants to make sure her home is clean. She wants to make sure the kids have enough clothes. But if you check closely, the differences that we have should not make us grow apart, but they should actually bring us together. It's a strength, actually, when you realize that Delia can focus on the short term to the extent that she can say, I think we need more cups in the house. I think we need more spoons. Then I begin to say, but we also need to prepare for our retirement. So if you bring the two positions together, it means we are going to enjoy the now and also enjoy the future. So probably our differences, if we actually look at them positively, actually a good thing that can help us to actually make better decisions, as it were. And Delia, feel free to come in whenever you can. Delia was working very hard, long shifts. You know how nurses work. So she's a bit tired, but she said she'll come in here and there when she can. It takes maturity to balance and live harmoniously despite these differences. For example, when your wife says, you don't listen to me at all, if you take it literally, you begin to argue to say, I think I listen as well. Then it becomes a huge issue about, I think I listen. Why do you say I don't listen at all? Something like that. But if you look at it, she might just be saying that you did not listen to me now, this point that I'm expressing now. So as a man, if you understand these differences and take time to invest and read about these differences, especially the book Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, that book I would encourage every man to read it. I was dealing with a case recently where a pastor was struggling with the relationship with his wife. And he kept saying that she does not even appreciate. Then I asked him to say, go and read this chapter in this book. He then said to me, I should have found that book long back because he realized he was not supposed to take some of the statements literally. So we have to understand the differences between men and women and make use of them to build better relationships. The next point I'm going to talk about sometimes causes controversy when I talk about it, but nevertheless, because I've seen it work, especially in counseling couples, I'll talk about those things. I call them the tough principles that make a relationship work. These principles are tough, but if you implement them, they're most likely going to help your relationship. Number one, you need to share the vision. As men, sometimes we know where we want the family to be, but there comes a time when you have not shared it with Delia, and you just begin to say, we need 10,000 to buy a stand in Zimbabwe. It's good to hear that family prays before they sleep. It's very good. But you can put your mic on mute. But thank you so much. I love that. So you need to share the vision. It's not good for Delia to just find me saying, we need to be saving 2,000 per month. And she says, what for? Then I say, I think we need to get a mortgage in the next 2 years. So you need to share the vision. Tell your spouse where you think the family should be, where we are now and where we want to be, so that everyone is aligned. I've heard some men say that they don't want to share the vision because the women can be critical about the vision. But the thing about couples is your wife is not a placeholder. She's there to help you make better decisions. Sharing my vision with Delia, my vision for the family with Delia has actually helped me a lot, because at times she has picked up some blind spots that I had not thought through. For me, I'm usually working towards the long term, and it's Delia who usually says, but we still need to live now. So sometimes I'll say, we need 60,000 in our year one of retirement. And Delia will say, where are we going for the holiday this year? So you find it actually helps when you share the vision with your spouse, because you get to make better decisions. I think husbands who have wisdom will share their visions with their wives and expect their wives to be critical of the vision. Because if she becomes a yes person, she's likely to just stamp even things that are not practical, things that are going to lead to disaster. So number one, you need to share the vision. Number two, you need to rein in on family members that disrespect your spouse. Guys, this is very critical. You can't have people shouting at your wife left, right, and center on the family group and you are quiet about it. That intimacy that you are crying for, that intimacy that you want to reach, it will be difficult to reach if your wife feels disrespected. I was dealing with a case, it was my sister actually, where I realized that part of the problem was that the husband was listening to his brother more than his wife. So they would discuss something, then the husband would go to his brother, then he comes back and everything has to change. So guys, I think you need to rein in on family members that don't respect your spouse. It's your duty, it's Delia's duty to defend me in a family space. It's my duty to defend Delia in my family space, because she does not know the MATARUSEs that well, but I grew up with them. So I have to be the one that defend in that space as it were. I use examples so that it can hit home. There was a time when I asked my young brother about a certain issue happening in the family's finances, our corporate finances as a family as it were. Then he said, it was my wife who did that. Then I said, so do you mean you want me to bypass you and go and face your wife? Then I said, next time you go and talk to your wife and you come with the position that you have agreed with your wife. So guys, some of these things, you just need to take a stand. In Shona, they say, ukajikira huro ikunyara, iwo wacho ndiwo unofa. So some of these things, we just need to do the right thing. Then number three, rebuke your partner in private. If it's a family meeting and Delia says something and everyone is in uproar, I don't join in that. I'll try to find a way to divert the story. Then when we are at home, I can say, I think, sweetie, that was not on. And Delia does the same as well. There comes a time when we finish the family meeting from her side, and she says to me, but that time you did not understand. Do you know, Tete, I'm very related to this one and this one, so you were supposed to do it like this. When you are rebuked in private, it maintains your dignity. So guys, we need to be careful about that. Then number 4, always choose your partner and show them that they are special. I'll give an example. When I married my wife, my sister used to say, permitting in English, she was saying, on this meeting, we just want those who were born by the same father and same mother. So in a way, she was excluding my wife from the meetings. At first, I would do that. I would tell Delia that you are not allowed to come to this meeting. Then there was this day we drove to this meeting, and when I was leaving the car, then Delia said, yeah, I know they don't want me in that meeting because andisimwana wanyamun ezitwe. Guys, it stuck deep in my heart because I realized that in as much as I would go into that meeting, because I worked together with my wife, I was going back home and I'll tell her everything. But what if she's there hearing for herself from the horse's mouth? I went to my sister and said, we are not starting this meeting without our spouses. Then I said, Delia is going to come here and my young brother's wife is going also to come into this meeting. Then she said, what about my husband? I know he has not paid Lobola. I said, we want him in the meeting because he's your spouse. That's your spouse. So in my view, you can't have people separating you from your wife. I learned this from a very senior pastor at our church. He had this habit of saying, guys, we can't have the meeting and go back and give feedback to our wives. The best thing, they come here, they hear us speak. Then if they don't want to speak in that meeting, when we go back home, they can actually tell us their husbands, their views. Then we can come with a position. And you know what? There was a time when we disagreed about family inheritance. And I was of the opinion that my sister should not get a share. That was me, very cruel indeed. But when we finished the meeting, we came back home and Delia said, Daddy, do you think that was the right decision? I said, no, we have passed that already. She says, no. I think Tete deserves a share in that. She's just like she's a child, just like you and Bamnin. I went back and told my sister that we have changed the decision and we have you now have your share of this inheritance. She was so happy. Then I reminded her, do you remember that time when you said you did not want Delia and Bamnini's wife in my young brother's wife in the meeting? And she laughed. And I said, but they are the ones that advocated for you in this case. So guys, always choose your partner and show them that they are special. This thing of just committing in a family meeting that you are going to contribute 1,000 pounds and come to Mercy. I'm saying that because I know you, Ephraim. You are the example that I will use today. And Mercy, if it's true, don't nod your head in front of the camera. Yeah. So this thing of just coming and saying, I've committed 1,000 pounds already, I think it's not right. Some of us, we do it to show that we are in control. But guys, I think it leaves our wives bleeding. Imagine your wife coming and saying, I've committed 1,000 pounds to my family. You just need to go along with that. My view is, if the meeting is tense, I usually say, guys, I think we have spoken enough. Let's go back to our families and come back again. And when I talk about a position that Delia has told me about, when she has given me an input, I don't go into that meeting and say, Delia said this and this. I just say, this is my position as John, because my wife is supporting me. Number 5, if you are not sure of your wife's love language, just give her your presence, being there as a husband, your phone down, the newspaper down, and just to say, I'm here, your presence, being present. She will appreciate that a lot. There are many things that are taught about love languages. I will not go into that today because I want to touch some of the things that are very practical that we can do to improve our marriages. So if you are not sure about your wife's love language, your presence, and one other thing, money to spend, isina zita. I know some men are bringing out spears for me there. I'll deal with it later. For us, we actually budget for that money. When we budget for that money, I get my share, but Delia gets a share that is equal to me and a little bit extra. For women, I think it's very important. And what I have noticed, guys, when we started doing that, we were discussing with another couple. They were also facing their own challenges. Then I told them, I was facing the husband, but I was just addressing both of them. Then I said, Delia gets 25% more than me. Then the husband said to me afterwards, he says, I can't have that. It has to be equal. Then I told him that, do you know what? The 25% extra, usually Delia ends up buying things for the family. So it's actually 25% extra, but it's coming back to the family as well. A lot of women are like that. I've noticed that women do a lot of things to build their homestead. So sometimes when you do some of these things, your wife will also bring back. Remember, they are multipliers, isn't it? You give them £1, they'll give you 2. You give them love, they'll give you double. You show them you disrespect them, then they'll do it double and you will not love it. Okay. Then the sixth thing, this is quite important. We have to know the real cost of decisions. When I talk about the real cost of decisions, I'm talking about a situation whereby, say, for example, my sister wants help and she wants £10,000. Then I commit to give her the £10,000, but I cannot afford the £10,000. So when you look at it, you can say the cost of it is £10,000, but the real cost is that I'll need to work extra shifts to cover that gap. And that means time away from the family. And that means sometimes the body begins to shut down because I need to cover that gap. So sometimes you need to look at the real cost of decisions. If I don't show my wife respect and I just treat her like a nobody, making decisions on my own, just saying you have to take it, Delia, I've already made the decision, the cost is going to be heavy in the bedroom. You're obviously going to be given sex, but it's not the quality that you want. That's the real cost. It means you're going to go to work, but you cannot find, I'm still stressed, but I cannot find where it is. But if you had treated this woman with respect, the real benefit was going to be a woman who say, Nasa murari musina kuita basa renyu. As men, we like it when women initiate sex, to be fair. And for that to happen, it has to be a woman who knows that you value her and you also treat her with respect. So sometimes you find that some things that we do, they affect the intimacy. The things that we are doing here will affect the output. The second thing that I'm going to talk about, Delia, do you want to come in? No. Okay, if you want to come in, please come in. I'll talk about things that create time, because in the diaspora, time is at a premium. It's difficult to find time, but with the relationship, guys, we have to be intentional about them. Number one, these are practical steps. You can try batch cooking. Batch cooking is whereby you prepare muriwo where 5 days, cook the food, put it in lunch boxes, then you just need to eat after work and eat. It means you have more time to be with each other and to be together as a family. We call it batch cooking. It has really helped us. Number two, you actually need to be intentional about planning. For us, we call it a no-shift time. This is the time where you say no one is booking a shift. Yes, we need the money, but we can't get the money when the real cost is a broken marriage. That would even be detrimental. So we call it a no-shift time. Even if they advertise with double time, we are not picking. As if we don't need the money. We need it, but we are not picking. I'll also tie this with the real cost of decisions. Let's say, for example, you are over extending yourself in either your budget, maybe you are taking credit left, right, and center, and you have all these debts that need to be paid. In addition, anyone who says they need money from you, you just give them. It simply means you can't have no shift time because you need to keep working to support whatever you are doing. So sometimes you find that decisions we make really affect the intimacy that we are looking for. So you need to plan for no shift times where we are not picking any shift, but we are just spending time together. Number 3, you need to share your rotas. I feel pity for people who are keeping secrets from each other, because I'm always shocked when somebody says, I was about to go to work, then my wife said, we're supposed to remain with the kids because she has booked a shift of her own. You need to work as a tech team. For us, we share the rotas. Delia will tell me the days she's working. Then I also can see what I need to do, where I can fit in. Otherwise, guys, it's stressful. I've heard stories of people who call and say, I'm on the way. I'm going to leave my kids with you because I have a shift to go to. Guys, we need to be more organized. We need to be more organized. So we need to share our rotas so that if we are working as a tech team, if Delia goes to work, I then remain home and I defend. Take care of the kids, clean the house, wash dishes, whatever needs to be done. But you can imagine if Delia is building her own property in Zimbabwe and I'm doing the same, then we are in competition because the vision is not shared. So it becomes a difficult thing to share the rotas because each one is working at opposite ends. Guys, you achieve a lot when you work together, and intimacy is improved that way. So number 4, as you would have guessed it, it's working together with a common vision. Working together with a common vision. Yeah. I'll go on to talk about finding time for each other. Because there is a time that we find for the kids, for family members, but there is also time that we need to find for each other. Number 1, if possible, let's plan couples getaways where we just go away as a couple, the 2 of us. For us, we do that every year. And actually, the plan is to try to do it twice a year. But at the moment, because of how leave is organized at work and what have you, finances as well, we are doing it once every year. We go away, just the 2 of us, no one else, so that we can do whatever we want to do. And on these trips, we like spending generously. We like to make sure that we get the nicest Airbnb, soundproof, not near any neighbors. Yeah, just so that we can be free. Strong beds, strong doors, just to make sure we have all the, all the privacy that we need. You know how it is in the UK, the doors don't have locks. I think it's a fire safety thing, whatever. But when we go away, we are very free. You can walk naked in that Airbnb. We are talking to couples, so we are not ashamed of this. You can do things that you cannot do in the house. You can even tie each other to the ceiling. No one cares. We are free. We are happy. And I understand some couples who say, what do we do with the kids? For us, we pay for childcare for that period. If it's a week, if it's 3 days, we find somebody. Usually we try to find initially somebody from church. This can be somebody who does not have shifts at that time, but they just want some extra income. Some people are in college. So I say, if I give you 200 pounds, would you be with my kids for a week? And I go away on this trip. And it usually works. But if the worst comes to the worst, we look for professional childminders. We pay them and we go away. It's so important to us that we are willing to pay anything. I'm attempting to be done by in the next 18 minutes, and I think we should be done. Yeah. So we pay for childcare. We don't spare any cost for this. We need to go away. Last year we went to Wales, and it was lovely. Working together, your wife gets to tell you some things that you are like, why did you not tell me this? There was just not an opportunity. But now that you are on your own and you are more free, so we don't spare any expense for that. Number 3, we also have a phones down policy at certain times, where we actually say for the next 1 hour or 2 hours, the phones should be down so that we can pay attention to each other. And if we are holding our phones, let's say we are at work, when I look at the messages, I can see a message from my brother. That one I can ignore. I can respond later when I am done with work. I can see a message from my sister. That one I can ignore. But if it's a message from Delia, I need to find the nearest toilet. Then I respond and check what's happening with her, because I need to show her that she's important to me. So my brother and my sister are all excuses. But for my wife, if I see darling Delia come through, I want to check what is it. If it's a meeting, then I wait. As soon as it is done, I check. Is she okay? Is everything fine? Because I need to show her that she's so important, isn't it? Then number 4, make sure you care for yourself in as much as you care about others. If you watch the movie Fireproof, it shows a man who was a hero everywhere. But in his home, the wife was like, we don't know the hero that you're talking about. So let's not be wives and husbands whereby the supervisor say, she's so wonderful with residents, with service users. She goes out of your way. But the husband is like, are you talking about my wife? Yeah. So I really need to be a hero in my home as well. Number 5, finding time for each other. We do a weekly meeting. We copied these, a lot of these ideas that I'm talking about, we copied it from other couples, because when we sit down with other couples, we try to see what is working for them and implement it in our marriage as well. So we have a couples meeting. Yearly, we have a vision meeting where we look at our vision. Is it still fit for purpose? Do we need to change anything? Now that they changed the issue, the rules around visas, we also begin to say, do we need to change something? Do we need to adapt some of the visions that we have? And weekly, we do a tactical meeting. This is to say, what are we going to do this week to make sure that we achieve our vision? And in these meetings, we say it's the safe space. It is in those meetings where Delia can say, if I'm honest with you, I don't feel you are involving me in these things. This is where also I can say, do you know what? I think I need more sex. I think I'm starved a little bit. I know you're working, but I think if you can improve in that, it's a safe space. We can talk about anything. It's a safe space. It needs to be, guys. If you take whatever Messi is saying, Ephraim, and you tell it to your mom, some of it does not work. This is the safe space. Delia can say, I think your mom is not treating me well, John. Then I say, what is the evidence? She says, can you look at this? Can you look at this? Can you look at this? Then I also look at that. And they say, okay, what do you need me to do? I think here you're overreacting, sweetie. What do you think? It's a safe space. We need that. We need that. A thing that I struggle with in counseling sessions is where you realize that these issues have been building over time. Where you see that you said we needed 20 minutes, then you realize we actually need 2 days for this. There was a time when I was called, I was in Zimbabwe, and I received a call from one of our church leaders. He said, go to Pastor so-and-so's house. He has beaten his wife, and the wife has called us. Go there and try to see what's happening. When I walked in there, the moment we started speaking, I realized that there were issues that have been building up. So we had to come back again and say, okay, so this issue, what do you, my Mfundisi, feel about this? What do you, Baba Mfundisi, feel about this? I was happy that we managed to get a breakthrough, but it was over several meetings as well, where we realized that there was no outlet. The wife said, he does not even give me time to speak. Then he was saying, when I speak, she's overcritical, then I remain quiet. So you could see that these issues have been building up. But if you have your meeting as a couple, then you are able to pick some of these issues very quickly. I'm also going to talk about finances, because guys, believe you me, this is one area that is causing a lot of problems. Communication and finances, it's a huge area. It's a huge area. Number one, I would say you need to budget. If you don't budget, sometimes the wife is saying, but we got 3,000 pounds. Where did it all go? But if you have your budget, you just go there and you check. Delia now knows that I don't remember very well some things. But when she asks me, I go to the budget. I go to the record. Then I'm able to say, this is what happened. So you need to budget. The other thing that we get from budgeting, we can make decisions without emotions ruining everything. If it's Ephraim's mother who is asking for help to build a new home at a cost of 30,000 pounds over 2 years, if we put it in the budget and it's not coming out, if we say we are going ahead, then that means we are prepared to borrow. We are prepared to work overtime and sacrifice the children and whatever. So budgeting helps you to make decisions outside emotions. It cannot be Ephraim saying, this is my father who went to the maricho kuti ndizodzidza. But if we put it in the budget, it can come out and show this can fly or this cannot fly. Then emotions can always come in to say, what if we borrow and work overtime? Then you can discuss that if you're in agreement. Then number two, I'm not talking about everything about finances, but I'm just going for issues that I have seen causing tensions. If you have a problem allocating help to families where probably, in our case, my biological father and mother are dead, but Delia still has a father alive. So for me, when I say my mother, it's my Ninive, so I say I've got a basket of mothers and a basket of fathers. So what we realized earlier on was that for me, if I sent 10 pounds to this mining number two wants the same. So we found that I'll be sending a lot more than Delia. Yeah. So if you find that you have such a situation where maybe one spouse is crying inward to say, I think your relatives are the more vocal ones. So they present the picture like in a bad way. They send the picture echironda chacho, nyoka yacho yaruma munhu and everything. And maybe the other person's spouse family is not that very articulate. I usually say to those couples, use a 50-50 plan. It requires maturity, but it's just to say, we allocate 50 to you, we allocate 50 to me. In that way, no one says you are spending more on this side or on that side. I recently discovered that it helped another couple because what happened is when they initially told us about their issue, I told them to use 50-50. After hearing both sides, then they ignored it at that time. But later on, when we were dealing with another issue, the wife said, I actually realized that all the money was going to his parents. Then I said to the husband, I think you now need to do 50-50. So they started doing 50-50. Of course, sometimes they break that rule, which is important in a couple's relationship, isn't it? There are times when they are like, okay, let's get more to this side. But generally, the scales are more balanced. So it has ceased to be an issue to them. So guys, you can also try to use that if it works for you. Whenever couples argue, I do that to them. But in my marriage, I apply 50-50, but very loosely. There are times when we need to do more on the other side and the other side. But there are also times when we just do the 50-50 and it works for us. Then number three, investments. With investments, you need to start doing that early so that the compounding effect of interest helps you to build up wealth as a family. We are very lucky in the UK. There are many platforms where you can do investments. I actually buy my shares on my phone. And you can actually do this from anywhere. Banks have these platforms. Investment companies like Hargreaves Lansdowne, Vanguard, they have these platforms. There are lots of platforms. If you need further guidance on this, I can help. So if you buy shares, if you buy trust funds, if you also try to do group investments which are formalized, it's as good as you start building wealth. Like I said the other time on the group, My investments, which I started in 2021, which we started in 2021, have grown by about 45%. That's a huge growth, guys. And the other thing, because we do it together, Delia knows what is happening there. She knows the balances and what have you. Then number 4, I get asked this question a lot. Renting or buying? For me, I advocate for buying. Mortgage, take your mortgage. Why? Because if you are renting, the landlord is in business. He has already factored in insurance, whatever, and he's charging you rent, which will leave him with a profit. And I also advocate for buying, especially where the monthly repayment is going to be equal or a little bit more than your monthly rent currently. Because when you buy, you're building equity in the property. But I also understand why some people delay buying. You don't want to chase buying to the extent that you stop breathing. It causes a lot of problems in the marriage as well, and it can affect intimacy. Some people are not sure about their tenure in the UK. My visa is about to expire, the course, whatever. So in those cases, I sort of understand. But if you ask me any other day, buy or renting, I say go buy. Start building equity in your home. And some calculations that I did, I discovered that when you pay your mortgage, even the first payment, if you pay, say, for example, £1,000, your equity in there, the bank is going to take something like 60%, but 40% already is what you're putting in the house. So either way, when you're paying bit by bit, part of the amount that you're paying is actually getting to build your equity in the house. I can talk a lot about this, but I quickly need to finish up. So I'll go to the last part, which I've called Great Diaspora Truths. Things that I've found to be true. Number 1, you cannot save or help everybody. Guys, this thing of being told that you are our only hope, it's not true. If you don't have the money that month, people will find their way. I have a friend who served in Afghanistan, and he came back. We go to the same church. Then he posted a message that I could see that he was in pain. I went to his inbox and said, brother, what's happening? He said, when I was in Afghanistan, people told me they had nothing. Then now I'm here. I have paid school fees for people. I've sponsored weddings. And now I'm struggling. No one is looking at me. Then I said, but it's their choice. They can choose to help you or not. Then he said, what worries me is I realized that sometimes I was helping them when they were far better than me. He had bitterness in his heart. Yes, help people, but just know you are not the savior. You cannot help everybody. You cannot help everybody. Number 2, emotional blackmail is real, but you need to go above it. For me, they now know that telling me that she's going to die if you don't bring that, it does not work with me. I'm not holding a life. If I'm able to do it, I'll do it. If I cannot, I will not. And I don't build the expectation. If I know I'm not going to do it, I simply tell some person, I'm not going to be able to do this. You need to find a solution. But what I do, even if I cannot help financially, I help with advice. I try to look at the situation. How can this person deal with this? How can they go over this? Because sometimes it's not money that is needed. It's actually advice. And also, I don't just throw money. Recently, we had a situation where in our family as well, the other thing that we do when we distribute money for parents, MATARUSE and Murwira, the 2 families, it's Delia who decides which one gets the money in your family. But she gives it in my name. Then they say thank you to me because she knows your family better than me. In my case, I get my lot, then I decide who gets it. Then Delia gives it on my behalf, and they say thank you to Murora Kanaka. Murora Kanaka, but ndinda nongedzera. Kuti apa trukuita uyo. Yes. So emotional blackmail is there, but you have to go above it. Then the third thing, expectations from home have remained the same but UK has changed. Disposable income has gone down. There's a lot that is happening, guys. I used to work as a banker in Zimbabwe, so I read some of these economic things and whatever. The war in Ukraine, a person in Zimbabwe might say it does not affect me, but it does. But for us, it hits closer to home. Prices have been rising. And the disposable income, I don't know about you. My company gives us an increment of about 3% every year, but inflation has been 6-7%. So it means, in a way, my disposable income has been going down. I actually need to be intentional on how I allocate that. Then the last point, which I think is the more important one, Fireproof, that movie that I talked about. If you have not seen it, go and watch it. Cover your family first before trying to cover anyone else. Your kids might be more vulnerable than other people that you are being asked to cover. In my case, I know that if I die, the people that will need to be covered are my 2 children and my wife. My sister is her own husband. My young brother is his own wife. Those guys are doing their life. So my kids are more vulnerable than me. It's sad to hear stories where people begin to hate family because they could see that whatever family asked for, they got. But whatever the family asked for, it was excuse after excuse. I once dealt with an issue quickly of a pastor's child who said, I hate church because we went without, because my father always gave everything to the church. Giving is not bad, but we need to be balanced, guys. Your kids are more vulnerable than some of the people that you are being called to cover. Make sure they are covered. Make sure they are covered. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I'll give back the time to either the Gujas or the Garwis.
Wow, wow, wow. What a session we had. Thank you very much, Mr. MATARUSE. That was so powerful and wow, insightful as well. I've learned so many things from just the sharing you just did. And believe me, I was taking notes and I hope Hasbe, Baba Gusha there, you have also been taking notes because definitely when you come back, we're going to have a family meeting to discuss what we have learned today. So yeah, just to touch on the few things you have talked about, defending your spouse in your family space. I loved that one. You know, sometimes we tend to forget, unoti bekwangu uyu mutorwa ndo defender weropa, but you know what? I like the fact that you say that you defend your spouse more than the family in this that's family space. Rebuke your partner in private. That's one thing which is very good. We tend to be overwhelmed about emotions, especially when we are in public or in a public platform. And when your mudiwa or your partner says something, shibate semono and just wait until you get home to discuss about this. I know we have a lot of questions. I'm just going to dive through into these questions which have been coming in my inbox about what you have been talking about. But before I jump into these questions, you touched on something we were discussing. I hope the Garis remember this, Gusha, Lennon Gusha. I hope you remember this. You talked something about coping from other couples and implementing in your marriage what other couples are doing. And we recently had our Valentine's dinner recently, and we were talking about coping and pest of what you learn from other couples and what you learn shakanaka also in your marriage. How did that benefit your marriage? Maybe you can actually just share on that how it had, because we had this conversation of sometimes if we tend to copy other people, we tend to move with pressure of social media and all those things. But I was on in the space of, well, we need to copy all the good things. When you meet someone who are lovey-dovey and all that and you love it, why not copy good things? So how has it benefited your marriage by copying good things from other couples who have made it? Maybe let me say it in that way.
Yeah, I would say it has been so helpful. And like you said, it comes with a sort of a warning where you don't need to be under pressure. Uh, for us, we say we look at what other couples are doing well and we come with it to our home and see if we can adapt it to suit the MATARUSE family. For example, we attended a couples where there were two conflicting views. One pastor said when he was teaching, he said that he gives all the money to his wife so that his wife can budget and whatever. He says, I don't even look at that. Then the other guy said they do it together. So when we came back to our home, we said, how can we work on this to make it be adaptable to our home? We later discovered that this pastor then came back at some point, some other couples, and he says, I do that because if you give me money, whoever comes and says they need it, they're in trouble, I give them. So in a way, it was understanding the strong points of each spouse in the marriage covenant and saying, how do we use this best? Because believe you me, as husbands, we might be the head of the house, but sometimes if the wife does the budgeting better, let her do it because it's benefiting the family. But I prefer a situation where we all have input. So what we do is we check, for example, like what you said, we see some couples can hold hands all day long. I've seen that we can't. we have our own love language, the way we show affection to each other and whatever. So we look at what other couples are doing nice, then we bring it back home and say, how can it work for us? If it does not work, then we discard it. We discard it. Then sometimes we pack it because it's very important. Sometimes you say, yes, we have seen this. Let's pack it. Let's discuss it later on. Nekuti hatiite zviya zvekuti handina nyaya inorara kuseri kwedhiwo semutsvairo, because there are times when you are too tired to discuss an issue, so we say let's discuss it at a more convenient time. And some of the things we have implemented them later on in life, and yet we saw it way back from other people, but some of it we have started implementing it now. From the guys who have been here 20 years or more, we have been here for 5 years, we discuss with them as couples. We try to look at the things that they failed on and the things that they did well. Then we try to bring it home and say, what do we take and what do we discard?
I love that. I love that. Well explained. I totally agree with what you have just said there. I know most of the people here, they're quite interested in the last topic you touched of covering your family, covering your children. But before I jump to that one, I'm just going to go back with you to what you spoke about going away as couples. I know it's not all of us who are privileged to do that. Some of us, we have issues which are like financial issues, which might deprive us from going away as couples. Some of us, we have childcare to actually start thinking about. But you kind of touched both of these things where you spoke of budgeting and all those things. And you spoke about something about childcare. And I just want you to touch on that one again and emphasize, because someone was asking, how do I do this? How do I go away? I'm financially disabled and I have children, small children. I can't leave them behind, but I want to, put back that spark in our marriage whereby we can be just alone and learn each other. What's your solution to these two things I've just mentioned here?
Okay, very good question. For us, we started going away when we were in Zimbabwe, and Nyanga was our favorite. So coming into UK, we have just continued with that. And initially, we thought we could not afford as well. But what I discovered is if the Nyanga trip was costing $120 that year, in January, we started putting away $12 every month or $10 every month. And then we have our 120. So here in the UK, what I say is your budget should reflect what you value. So it means in my budget, every month in our budget, we have what we call a travel fund, where we just put, at the moment, we are putting £30 away. So what we have discovered, because we have been doing this over a long time, what it has meant is usually when we come to July, August, when we want to go away as a couple, we find that we have enough to get an Airbnb or a hotel. Then we try to go for accommodation that we can afford. If I remember well, when we went to Wales, we used about £350 on a very good Airbnb in a very quiet neighborhood. The other thing is if you can travel off season, like in Nyanga, would ask the national park guys to say, where do you have less visitors? Then we go at that time. So it's about being intentional about it, because we can find excuses for not doing things. But sometimes when I look at budgets, I find that somebody has been sending black checks of maybe, say, £500 every month, but they can't afford to take their wife out or their husband away. So for me, it's a matter of priorities. You value the black checks more. I'm not saying do away with it. I've seen some people where I've said, this is £250 that you're sending. Why not reduce it by £50 and put that £50, then you do this? Yeah. Then the other thing that I wanted to mention before I go away from that, it's not only going to long trips. It can also be a night out. We go out once every month. And you know what? We put money aside. We just put £100 away for that. And usually we don't spend all of it. Sometimes we are charged 30, 40, 50, and we leave the 50 for future use. We don't touch it because we are like, it's so important that we go away. Because if we go away and we are in a nice restaurant, then we discuss strategies that are going to give us, say, an extra £1,000 per month. It means we have paid £50 to gain £1,000. I got this lesson when I was managing a company called Border Timbers in Zimbabwe. It's a big company in Mutare, so I was working there. And this guy, the secretary, came and he was withdrawing $10,000. Then I said, what are you going to do with all this cash? He says 6 bosses are going away with their spouses over 3 days, and they want to finish all of the $10,000. Then I said, but that's a lot of money. He said, when they do that, they come up with $1 million ideas. So sometimes the effect, what we gain out of it, is much more important than the cost. But there are destinations that each one can afford if you take time to look for it. If you need help, I can, because back in Zimbabwe, I was beginning to organize trips for couples as well. But if you need pointers, I can do that separately. But just to quickly get on to childcare. Childcare is a sensitive one because you want people who are trustworthy, and you also don't want to have a safeguarding, right? Very important, because these are your children. These are your children. So what I say is, for us, we first look at church, because these are people we go into the same cell group with, we worship together. We sort of now know each other over time. Okay, thank you. So we first go for those ones because they are cheaper. But if we don't get anyone there, then we look for a professional childminder. And usually, if you are hiring them for a couple of days, sometimes they allow you to get a discount, to say, okay, can I get a discount? Kuchema kunotovhumidzwawo, even very professional. So we find somebody to stay with the kids. But if you have family around, but what I have found also, guys, let's say I'm related to you, my Gusha. In the way I do it, I think Marino Tibatsira, we all need money. We have come here to work. So even if you are related to me, I'll say, my Gusha, there's an incentive to this. Please come and stay with my children over these 3 days. I'll give you £50. I think the other problem is sometimes we want things to be done for free. But I've noticed that if you're willing to give something, this person is off. Probably they will not be doing much with your kids. They just make sure they're fed and whatever. And the other thing is we don't go like for weeks and whatever. It's just 3-4 days at most. Then we come back. So we pay a person for that. Last year, we paid £200 because we're going away for 5 days. But it was saved over time. It was not like we just woke up and said we are going on holiday. So for us, it's very important because it's our love language. And when we go there, Delia sometimes wants to go shopping. So we make sure that is provided for. And just to see a smile coming back with those bags and knowing kuti Maria Kawanda but just knowing kuti this is good. She loves it and she's happy in her element. I like traveling. This is a good neighborhood. I can take walks and whatever. So yeah, that's the way we do this.
Wonderful. You spoke also of no shift days. Now we're talking about finances and, traveling. Um, as someone who have just arrived in the United Kingdom 3-4 years ago, I think most of us, maybe half of us, are people who have just arrived 3-4 years ago, and they're still trying to balance, that concept of traveling, of giving my sister kids and giving them around 200. To me, 200 is a lot of money. And I'm thinking, I could have used it to buy groceries. I could have used it to put fuel in the car I want to do shifts with, that kind of thing. But still, I want to maintain this kind of love you guys have. I know you have started, you didn't just happen to be where you are right now. I believe you started somewhere when you moved here to the United Kingdom. Were you traveling at that time, or did you pack the traveling, run with shift until you made enough money, then started traveling? How did you balance moving from Jerusalem to this side, to United Kingdom?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we came, we had lots of debts because we had to borrow. It was COVID time, you had to quarantine and what have you. So we ended up with a lot of debt. And even now, I can't say we have made it, but we just make sure our budget reflects what we value.
All right.
More, yeah, and we value our relationship because we need to work on it. So what we did, I came in August 2021. Delia was already here from May 2021. So what we did, we started looking for cheap destinations. Initially, it was not even a day. If it was not even sleeping overnight, it was just traveling by bus to some other place. We just look even at the bus map and realize that bus number 8 or 9 goes to this place, and where it stops at the end, there's a restaurant. So we just go there, spend some time there. And because we live in a seaside area, we just find that maybe crossing by boat to the island costs like £10. So we just cross over and enjoy that experience together, walk by the beach and what. So it was simple things. And I'm a YouTuber, by the way. So if you check my YouTube videos, some of my trips are nothing to write home about. I remember somebody saying, when we talk about a travel channel, we are not talking about this travel, John. Then I said, no, for me, it's about spending time with my partner. So initially, it was short trips, not very long trips. The other thing that guided our decision, especially as we were starting here, when I was in Zimbabwe, we got to an area where we bought a stand. And one of our friends, we had also bought a stand in that area. The wife said, now that the walls are up, why don't we block certain rooms and just put a roof on those rooms and go in and stay? And the husband said, let's wait until the whole house is finished, tiles, fitted cupboards and everything. Then we move in. And I think Delia still remembers this. The husband died before they moved into the house. So that taught us that you need to live in the moment. When you say I've just come to the UK, I'll only go out when I have made it. That time might never come. That time might never come. Then when I talk about budgeting, when I look at my budget, I try to see areas where we are spending money that we can divert and go away. And when we go away, sometimes we don't share pictures on Facebook and whatever, because we'd have said no to somebody, either in the UK or home, so we just go quietly. So for us, it's about starting wherever you are. And when we started going out every month, at first I still remember it was something like £20. And we just find maybe Subway, just get something cheaper. Our goal was to say, let's just use what we have. If the budget is £15, let's use that. Yeah. But now what has happened is, which is why I say as couples, let's start. Because we have been putting a little bit money in these pockets, which have names, travel, couples out and whatever. There is now a little bit of more money in that bag, to the extent that when we draw out like £200-300, it's now not much, as it were. But it's not like we are rich. It's because we do these projections where we say, if we want to go to Europe next year, if it's 1,200, how much do I need to be putting in the account now to hit that target? And if it cannot fit in my budget, what is there that is not as important as this outing? I don't know about other guys, but when we go out, we have very nice times. So for us, sometimes it's like when we come back, that's when we look at the account and we're like, oh, we used all that. Yeah, but of course we are quite aware that you need to be. But guys, it's just liberating. The other time we booked this Airbnb, which was near Heathrow Airport, so we could see the planes go up, and there was the river in front, so you could go on the balcony, not worried. It's just something magical. Then when we come back to the noise, the many shifts, the whatever. But that time for us, it's like peace be still.
Mhm. I like this. I like this. I like the statement you said, which said, live in the moment. Tomorrow might never come. So we live in the moment as couples. And I'm just loving that idea. Me and my husband, we love traveling. And when we were back home, we used to do what we called impulse traveling. We'll just think outside the box and we're like, this weekend we are going away. And then, how, for some weird reason in Africa, it's easy to do an impulse traveling rather than here in the United Kingdom, in England. So when we moved this side, we wanted to kind of carry that habit we used to do in Africa here. Believe me, it did not work. It did not work at all. So I'm liking the fact that you emphasized on budgeting and how you can actually start on small things and get bigger as you grow as well as a couple. It's just, I loved that. I love that. I hope we are all learning and we are loving this. Just one more thing I can say, Baba Kusha is ready to come in and jump in, but I just have one thing I wanted to ask. I think most of us, we have been, waiting to ask about this. We were waiting so much to ask about this question about covering. You spoke of covering your children, covering your family. I believe you're talking of, if I'm not mistaken, life insurance or what do you call it, funeral policy. I'm just assuming that's what you were talking about. But let's just jump into that and speak about this covering part you were talking about. What exactly did you mean when you talk about that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, good question. I'm very passionate about that. So essentially, I was talking about all aspects of life from now we are living until we die. So, for example, we have our funeral policy. We want to be buried in Zimbabwe, so we took out Nyaradzo. I know Diaspora Insurance will also give you cash. So, for me, that part is also some covering, because the last thing you want, you don't want Delia to be grieving two things. How are we going to get the body to Zimbabwe? But John is dead as well. So that's one covering. Then the second covering is life insurance. Guys, life happens. You can die, your spouse can die. And now that we have a mortgage, so that covering is where you then say, I'm going to give this insurance company this amount every month. And if I die, if it's not suicide, they don't want suicide, or where it's suspected that somebody killed somebody. Because as you know, with these insurance things, some spouses kill others so that they can get the money. But believe you me, you'd have done yourself no favor, because they are going to find it and you'll be treated as a fraud. So life cover, we are just saying you give that company money. Then when you die, they give you the surviving spouse some money. For example, I once looked at a quote for somebody who is 45, and I realized that this company required them to pay £15. Then they would give the spouse £100,000 if one of them dies. So it's £15 each. Then they get, whoever survives gets £100,000. So that's good money to start. Guys, remember, when you die, the other income has been taken away. This person cannot cover your shifts. So that 100,000 gives the family time to say, what do we do with this? Do we go back to Zimbabwe? Do we live to fight again? So that's about that. Then if you have taken mortgage, there is also insurance to cover mortgage, where you pay a certain amount. If one of you dies, they pay off the balance on the mortgage. With insurance, don't think about what if it does not happen. The problem is when it happens, you will not like it. Nyaradzo, I pay £24 for a family of 4. But when I asked them to say, how much do you want me to pay if you are to take my body to Harare and I don't have insurance? They said minimum 5,000 pounds. So that's lots of money, guys. And diaspora insurance, there are some policies you pay 10 pounds and they give you a good amount of money. So that's something that you can do. Mortgage cover as well. Then the other cover that I wanted to talk about is your wills. I know African men sometimes, and whatever. Guys, I'll be upfront with you. We have our will. We have written, if I die, if Delia dies, this happens. And that I don't want to leave my family struggling with things. I remember telling my wife that, look at some of the discussions or arguments we have as the MATARUSE family. I don't want you sitting there and somebody saying, my Nini, you are not getting anything. I don't want that. I don't want that. I also learned from another experience. My cousin sister lost her husband. And during the funeral, the mother to the husband said, in our culture, all the things left go to the eldest brother. Can you imagine, guys? She was grieving. And she came and told us the MATARUSEs, and we sat there and we said, hey, pakashata. But God is there. But if we can do something, let's do something. The elder brother said, I agreed with my young brother that whoever dies first, we protect each other's widows. But imagine if he was greedy. Then this second experience, a funeral, a MATARUSE person had died. We go there, and one of our fathers said, we need to take everything because Tisu varied version. And we said, Baba, we no longer do that. Let's give everything to the wife. We'll just take a shirt, a t-shirt each, and we give everything to the wife. We have actually modified it as a family. When I talked about this, certain people were laughing at me, but this is what we now do as a family. If your husband is dead and it's your child who is being paid lobola for, we treat you as your husband. Whatever your husband was going to get as Rusambo, you get it. And the women are very happy. And myself more, because I stand for that position, I'm a favorite to Vanamai Guru Angu, because I say, guys, we agreed about this. Sakavana Baba, let's not be greedy. So you need to cover your children, because guys, when you are no longer there, and if you can also get a trust, you pay lawyers a certain amount, they draft the trust for you. The trust is good because you speak even beyond the grave. Because some trusts actually say, I once dealt with a trust in Zimbabwe where the man wanted to take a loan, and we discovered that in the trust, it said he cannot use that property as collateral. So in a way, his father had protected him to say, you will still remain with this house. So you find in a trust, you can actually say, I know of a trust where this person said, pavana vangu vari 3, anenge aitawo vana 4, share yake kana afa inogoverwa iri as 1 kune uyo ane vana 4. Aita mwana 1, share yake. So you find that they've actually mentioned things that should happen when they die. Guys, let's not fear this thing of dying and whatever. Yes, we need to be careful, but some of these things, they are there to just protect our spouses. Will you kill me for the insurance?
I like that question. Wow. Thank you very much. That was indeed. Before I hand over to Baba Gusha, because I know he's prepared. He wants to say something as well. I'm just curious, to hear Miss Mataruse's voice. When you were speaking earlier on, I can just imagine how nice and lovely she is. She, the way you are so organized as a family, because isu kwatinobva tinoziva kuti musha mukadzi, and I know for you to be who you are right now, it's because of that beautiful lady next to you. Maybe just a few words from you, Miss Mataruse.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think as a couple, it is important to work together as a tech team, as he said. And I thank God because He's also given me an opportunity to say some things, to critique some of his ideas, to also bring ideas to the table, and then we critique those ideas together. So it is important to work together. That's the main thing. I think that's all I can say. And I thank God because I'm loved. I think you've seen it. Yeah, and ndinopiwa mari isina zita, and so yeah, that's a privilege. So thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm audible enough. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. MATARUSE. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kuja, for holding the chain on the other side while we are still grinding. Thank you so much to the Garwes as well. So there is a comment a question in the comment section that says, they're looking for any Yarato link, which we will share on the group as well. I think we'll share on our Diaspora Couples group if you are there. If you are not, you can just inbox one of the admins. So for me, it's just, you know what, to thank you, Mr. MATARUSE. You know what, everything that you have shared tonight is just insightful. There's a part that I wanted. I liked the first time when we were talking where you